Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the 71st Hour podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie, joined by, as always, Nathan and Ben. How you guys doing? Ben, welcome
Pretty good.
back.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry about missing out last week. Yeah,
It's okay. We punished you by making Luca pick a game for you. So
hey, of course,
that's your
that's perfectly
punishment,
fine.
and now you're a Mother 3 fan. So,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
am absolutely love that game. Definitely played it before. Absolutely.
So this week's episode is going to be a little like bite-size micro episode because we're all very busy, got stuff to
Yes,
do.
busy people.
Um
Well, not bite size, but
No, yeah. When I say bite
the
size, it's still going to be
intended
an hour.
length. When
Yeah,
we started this podcast, this will be the intended
like
length.
the
Yes,
warrior could go
we've
for. Yes,
trimmed the fat, and
it's
it's
just
time to just suck on that meat.
Okay,
Um,
what he
speaking
said.
speaking of, I can't even segue. We're gonna do top 100 now in
Mhm,
case Ben has to leave quickly.
mhm,
Uh, so yeah, let's do our top 100 right
absolutely.
now. Are you guys ready? Who wants to go first? Jumping right
Uh,
into it.
I'll start off. I'll start off. I missed out last week. I'll start off this week.
Okay.
This is Jamie beforehand. I'm surprised I actually haven't put this game on the list yet. Because I feel like it would be one of the first picks. But I'm actually gonna put Insomniac Spider-Man on the list. I
It's a good
think,
pick.
yeah,
That
I
was
think
gonna be
that's
mine eventually. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think that should go on the list. It's just a fantastic video. I don't think we have to really say much
Now
about it.
here's
It's
the
just a
thing
great game.
though, is that I would have even said that I'd rather Miles Morales on here, but I'm fine, obviously fine with they're both
So
good.
I, so
Have
the
you
thing
haven't
is,
played Miles Morales, have you?
no, I have. I played
Okay.
both.
Okay.
I kind of like I kind of took them both as one in a sense, and I kind of
Right.
like just to kind of think of like Miles Morales as a part of Spider-Man in a sense. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
kind of
no, that
think of
makes
it.
sense.
So I kind of put them both in my head. But I was looking to look at the list beforehand. I'm actually going to put this all the way up at number 18. That's where I'm going to put this.
Number
Um,
18.
yeah, it's just I said this before. This is like my favorite open world that I think it's one of my favorite open worlds. This and Red Dead are the only two open worlds I've played where I did not want to fast travel, where I did not want to go through and fast travel. I just wanted to go through the world itself without actually fast traveling. And the
That's
story
true,
and the
actually.
characters,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where like traversal is so fun that I'm the same way. I never fast traveled in that game, even though they were
yeah,
like on well when I played it on PS5, it's like literally a millisecond.
yeah,
I was still like, nah, I'll just go
mhm.
to the destination. Like 2,000 meters, I get there in like 2 minutes. Like it's
Yeah, exactly.
nothing.
It's nothing, right? Yeah,
Um,
it's great. It's absolutely amazing.
I mean,
Um,
I've obviously spoken about it before, but it's one of those games where like every single, even if it is very like formulaic for an open world game, it's just so fun to play as Spider-Man that it doesn't
mm,
even like.
doesn't
It's
matter.
just it doesn't matter that it's like I'm doing another crime again. It's just fun to punch shit,
Yeah,
and
absolutely,
swing and do
absolutely.
all that stuff. Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
fully on board with that being on the list.
Hmm. Hmm. Alrighty. All right. Let's see, Jamie. What about you? I'm interested about yours.
I see. I've got a couple here, so I think I'm gonna go with one that I don't think you guys would pick, mainly because you both not played it. I'm gonna put Dead Space on the list.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
first Dead Space I want to put on the list. In terms of positioning, I think I want to put it at number 22, right where
Okay.
Mother 3 is.
Okay.
Mainly
Boom.
because,
Boom.
don't know if Mother 3 is any good. And I don't want to. I feel like Metro Prime is fantastic, and I know Nathan speaks very highly of Donkey Kong Country 2, so I don't want to. And it's also not like Resident Evil 2 is it's the better survival horror game of
Mhm.
those two, so I think that's a good spot for it. And even then, I could see at some point us moving it down a little bit because, like, there's a lot of good games. I mean, there's a lot of good games on this list anyway, but
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
especially
shit.
especially playing the remake, it like reminded me of like the remake is so good, but the foundation is just that's the original game.
That's the
So
original. Yeah.
this position is Dead Space slash the remake because they're both fantastic games.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, that's mine. What
Alrighty.
about you, Nathan? What are you adding to the list? Any nostalgia? Any
Yeah, a
recent
little bit.
stuff? A little bit of
Not like
nostalgia? Okay.
nostalgia,
Oh,
but
okay.
like everyone loves this game. Come on. It's Skate 3.
Ah, yep.
That's a
Yep.
good
Good
pick.
pick.
That's a
That's a
good
great
pick.
pick.
I like that.
Mhm. That's a great pick.
Well, I feel like you
Haven't
wouldn't see
actually.
that on many lists, but it totally makes sense for our list, I'd say,
Yeah,
because
Oh,
like
it's
100%.
fucking great.
it's a touchstone.
No,
The
this is a
cultural
great game.
touchstone for our generation, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'd put it like really high on
Probably not.
compared to these games, but let's say like ooh, ooh,
Oh, oh.
Right above
all the
Fallout
way
3.
at 80, like just above GTA,
Okay.
I reckon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
No,
okay with that.
that's
I'm
fair.
okay with that. Yeah.
That's a good
Maybe
spot.
actually maybe below Life is Strange.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah. Well, for fuck's
Oh,
sake, dude, Google Sheets, you need to fucking fix this shit. This is a terrible user experience.
You know,
Like,
yeah,
it's
you
horrid.
know who doesn't have this issue? Excel. You know,
Excel.
Excel doesn't have this issue.
True.
Excel's
That's true.
perfect. Fantastic. No, you know what? I think this is one of the first weeks where I've actually fully agree with all 3 picks. 'Cause sometimes I've been
Yep.
like, oh, you know, like I haven't played it or,
Mhm.
you know, but this time I was like, yeah, fuck yeah,
Yeah, these are good
we nailed
picks.
it.
These are
Some
good
good
picks.
additions here.
I
Yeah,
think this is the
like-
definitive list, and any other list is just not.
It's wrong.
It's not valid.
Yeah, it's wrong.
true.
Yeah.
I was saying this last week, Ben. I think at some point I'm gonna want to put Breath of the Wild higher, but
Higher? I could agree
we'll
with
wait
that.
until we get to what 50.
Yeah, it was 50. We reorganized. I'm okay
We're
with
already
that.
at 39, so we're we're getting there.
Couple
We'll be
episodes
there,
before
we'll be there in a few weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
we'll do
No,
another
I'm okay with that.
rejig of the list, but
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, so
Yeah,
do we want to get over to our hot fix? I feel like we need to change the name of this a little
Hot
bit.
fix.
It's just it's not hitting, you know, because I was thinking like IGN has like the daily fix, and
Oh,
that sounds
yeah.
better. And then hot fix is like, you know, like you have like hot fix like an update.
Okay, yep.
I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily hidden the same way, but yeah, I'll think about it. It was sort of like an off the cuff thing. It's not really anything official. But anyway, the day after we recorded last week's podcast, From Software dropped a bomb on us.
Mhm.
And that was the newest gameplay trailer for Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. We got a release date. We got some gameplay. Have we watched this? Ben, I'm assuming you've watched this.
I have watched this. Yep. that is
Nathan's
correct.
also watched this. So it's releasing, you know, on my birthday, which I'm very excited about.
Ooh.
I'm glad about that, obviously.
Mhm.
What are our hype levels for this? You know, what are we thinking?
I am quite hyped for this. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited.
Okay, here's the thing, Nathan. Here's the thing: is I'm gonna try and sell you on this game. This is not a Souls game in any stretch of the imagination.
Not even close.
It is
Yeah,
not.
I know.
It's not.
I know what sort of game it is.
Yeah.
It's never interested me, and I've even played a little bit of one of the older ones.
Oh, but those suck. I was actually
Yeah,
saying this to Ben.
well,
Like
yeah.
in terms of how they reviewed in the day, very poorly.
Yes.
I
did
say
not do
very poorly, but like they were around the 60 to 70 range.
Yeah. Did not do well.
I mean, this game's obviously this is a guaranteed 85, 90, probably, right?
Easy 98.
Well, I just said this to Ben before, but like From Software hasn't, since Dark Souls or even Demon Souls, their lowest game was an 88.
Mhm.
So this game is obviously going to be very good, I'm assuming. I'm not really hyped for it, funnily enough, just because like I think in terms of From Software games, I'm more in like the camp of like I like their Souls games and stuff that the other stuff they've done I'm not the biggest fan of.
Mhm.
So going away from that Souls formula doesn't super excite me.
Mhm.
But I'll give it a shot probably. Like I think I'm always down for something polished and fun to play, and I hope that is what this is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's obviously they're taking, even if this isn't a Souls game, they're still taking what they've learned from the Souls franchise and like injecting it in terms of like just not even design so much, but just like learning development stuff and polish and all that kind of stuff, art style. Like this game looks really good in
It
terms
does.
of like the art direction and everything like that. So I'm excited from that aspect, but in terms of like gameplay, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how. I want to see more. I think.
Yeah.
Because the gameplay is very fast, and
Mhm.
so seeing these quick cuts, I'm not getting like a super great vibe on how it plays
Mhm.
so much.
Mhm.
Like it's very frantic, which
Yes.
I am. I do like in terms of like From Software Souls games, like Sekiro and Bloodborne are my favorites, and those are the really fast-paced Souls games. So if this is Armored Core, it's really fast-paced. Like I'll probably dig that aspect of it. But yeah, no, I'm intrigued by it. I'll say.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you gonna play it, Ben? You gonna play it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm definitely gonna play this on day one. I'm quite excited for this. I've been playing like a lot of Bloodborne. I know this is not really like Souls likes. I know this is not a Souls like, but like I really enjoyed a lot of From Software's stuff, and I think that seeing something that's a little bit different come out of them makes me actually quite excited because like all of the games I've played is Souls likes, right? I haven't actually played anything like this, so this actually being something different to a Souls like it makes me really excited. I've always wanted because I love Titanfall. I love Titanfall.
Mhm.
I love Titanfall 2.
Like
And since
mechs? Yeah.
Titanfall 2, yeah, and having another mech style game makes me pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for that as well. And for the gameplay I saw, I thought it looked really good. And yeah, I'm very excited for this, and I'm glad it's a little bit of a stray from Souls-like. I'm kind of the opposite of you, where I'm actually
Can I just say that like when it pops up, feed the fire and let the last cinders burn is the hardest shit I think I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Mhm.
Like it goes From Software goes hard.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm
really
guessing Nathan, you're in the camp of probably not going to play this game.
Unless it's good.
do.
I think
Look. All I have to say is like it's one of those games where I can't imagine like the story that can be told particularly well.
Yeah.
So the gameplay has to be everything,
Mhm.
and it has to
Mhm.
be everything for this to do well, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
That's
Mhm.
that's totally fair.
I can see that.
Speaking of gameplay doing well, I don't know. I
That
don't
was
know.
the best segue we've
I
ever
don't know,
heard.
I love
man.
this segue.
I just wanted to. So we're gonna talk a lot about Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I realized we just missed the main topic. I
Yeah.
totally skipped over our
Yeah,
main
I
topic.
did see
Come
you
back.
skip that, but that's fine.
Well, okay, we'll go to the main topic and then we'll circle back to Star Wars Survivor because that'll feed into what we've been playing. Because I was like, this is going by very quickly. Like, what am I missing? And then I'm like, oh yeah, there's a huge section above this. Man, I'm on one today. So yeah, so obviously, main topic this week was I shifted it around, and I thought we could do like a fun little conversation kind of thing for this week, just to get the minds thinking. So I thought, Ben, don't you want your mind to be thinking? You know,
I
don't
want
you
my
want it
mind to be
thinking?
thinking, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
everyone
excited to
wants
have
their
my
minds to
mind
be thinking. If
thinking.
you're not thinking, you're probably dead. But, like,
Yeah, mine's stale.
um, so I wanted to do a game of choose one developer and the rest have to go,
Mhm.
right? So I picked 4 developers. And so the idea behind this is, and Ben, we were talking a little bit about this before. So the developer you're choosing, you only play their games
For the rest of the time.
for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
So the developers I've chosen are Rockstar, doing Red Dead and GTA, obviously. Capcom, who make Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Devil May Cry, and Street Fighter. Naughty Dog, who does Last of Us and Uncharted. And CD Projekt Red, who do The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077, of course. Now, here's the thing. Here's the wrinkle, right? Is like, naturally you would think, oh, Jamie's going to go with Naughty Dog. He loves The Last of Us. He loves Uncharted. Their games come out very slowly, though.
Mhm.
Like every 5 to 6 years. So that's the thing with like, I would say 2 of these developers here, the 2 best, I would say on the list. They take a long time to release their games.
They do.
So is it a matter of going with super quality stuff every 5 to 10 years or getting a lot of great games more frequently? I think that's the central question behind this. Where do you jump to first?
So I will say that the one that I chose immediately and the one that I'm still sticking with is I'm gonna go Rockstar. That is the one
Right.
that I am holding on to. And here's the reason why. It's
Mhm.
because like how you just said, they release games incredibly slowly. Like
For reference,
incredibly slowly.
GTA 5 came out what, 2013. Red Dead
2013.
2 came out 2018.
18. Yeah, so 5 years. 5 years, right? But here's the thing about those games and why I'm okay with games like Rockstar types. GTA has had a lot of support. Now, yes, the online is shit. I'm not going to talk about that. But
Well, you say the online shit, but you did just play
I-
like 100 hours of it within a
Hey,
week, like
look,
the
we're not gonna worry about
last
that,
time.
okay?
So like, I
We're
mean,
not gonna
you
worry
say
about
it's
that.
shit, but also you did invest a shit ton of time into it. Like,
yeah, look.
there is that.
But the thing about GTA and stuff like that is that GTA, one thing about it, which I think is a lot of longevity, is the actual modding support and one of it. And I imagine that the modding support is allowed in this. It's not just you're not playing the base game; you are allowed anything that goes with it.
It's
right?
any component of the game, including external modded stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So, like with GTA, and my main thought process with that is that yes, it only has 5 years, but you have like so many mods to play with. You have like GTA RP and stuff like that. It's just basically a brand new game in itself in that aspect. And you also have the base game, the story, all of that stuff come together. That could last you 5 years until the next game comes over. You know what I mean? And when a game comes out, you have so many hours to play in that one game itself.
The other
Um,
wrinkle is that if you're getting rid of these other developers, like removing them from existence,
oh shit, that's what you're
well,
doing.
that's what the rest have to go. Like,
Oh
so you
shit.
pick Rockstar,
Okay.
Capcom, Naughty Dog, and CD Projekt Red never made video games.
Oh shit. Okay, I could see the issue that comes in there then.
Yeah.
Um.
So it's like a double
Oh
wrinkle because I
shit.
feel
Yeah,
like
it is.
sometimes you have like it's sort of like I'm mixing two together, right? Because sometimes you'll have the choose one developer, the rest have to go, and you can still play whatever games you want.
Mm.
But it is you have to play their games and the rest of the developer.
Wait, did he just die? Did he just
He's
die?
dead, dude. He's fucking gone. Look at him. There he is. There he's back. He's back.
What just happened? I
you-
DC'd from Video Ninja
Oh,
from
like,
like
cool.
our
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. That was weird.
Anyway,
That's really funny.
what were you saying?
That
I
was-
don't remember.
Where was I? Yeah, so I was saying like
the rest
you
gets
pick
enough
you pick
resistance.
you pick Rockstar, yeah. Capcom, Naughty Dog, CD Projekt Red never made their games.
Mm-hmm.
So how far back does
Oh.
the games industry go when you don't have like, for instance, like The Witcher 3 side quests or Naughty Dog
Yeah.
storytelling or
Mm-hmm.
I mean Capcom's sort of like I'm not sure necessarily what they've like how they've evolved the industry. I mean, I guess like Resident Evil, like
Resident Evil was pretty big.
I mean
step.
Resident Evil 4, like that's
Yeah.
third person combat right there. Like without that,
Yeah.
you don't get third person shooters the way you do now.
Yeah, true.
For simplicity of the argument, I feel like we should ignore the
Have to go. I feel like
impact.
it's literally impossible to choose. With okay, so wait, so when you say simplicity, you mean where developers still exist?
Well, no, okay, so not that. So like their games never existed, but you ignore the impact of those games never
Okay,
existing
okay.
because otherwise you start getting into this infinite loop of
Yeah.
paradoxes of time travel that just never end, and it's not possible to make an argument.
Yeah, I'm turning this like 20-minute conversation into like a 40-hour. What happened? What's going on?
I'm changing my life.
Well, nothing.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
Huh?
fixing my life.
Everyone just got quiet for a second. I was like, oh, what happened?
He
Like,
died again.
DC
Yours died again.
Dude, I'm getting freaked out. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. That is a good point because otherwise I think we'll be here all night. And
It'll be-
Seto will
yeah.
miss his basketball and
Yeah, it's
his
not gonna be
team will throw rocks at him.
Yeah.
I don't know what basketballs do.
Yeah, dude.
You
Yeah, you
get
get-
Gatorade dumped on you. When do they do that?
stoned.
They do that
If
sometimes.
you-
They dump the
if you mess
Gatorade.
up, if you mess up, you get stoned. That's what happens. You stand
Jesus,
back
that's
and you get
kind of
stoned.
brutal. That's a bit brutal.
Yeah. You know,
So
that's
yeah,
what-
so so Ben, you're choosing Rockstar.
I almost like to go Rockstar. I think that's probably my best pick in this situation. Yeah.
That's crazy because that's the only wrong answer. I'm kidding. Where are you leaning, Nathan, in this list of developers? Because I feel like it's sort of tough for you because I know how much you love Rockstar games, but you also love Naughty Dog games. Well, two Naughty Dog games. Like that's
Yeah, dude, not
I
a
guess
dog
the
game,
thing
I was
is
gonna
like
say.
it really is just Last of Us that Naughty Dog makes that you really like.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't played Uncharted.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think it was pretty easy for me, just based on, like, obviously ignoring the thing that I just said.
the infinite loops of
You
this.
like
Yes.
never get filmic cinematics because Naughty Dog never existed.
Yeah, exactly,
It's like-
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think Rockstar was a pretty easy choice for me, just solely based on like the amount of time that you can spend in the games. Because I think I've spent probably close to 1,000 hours in GTA Online, and that's not even including GTA RP or anything like that. And like Red Dead RP, you could waste your life in
Yes.
and stuff like that.
Yes.
I just think that even without external modding, you could definitely make Rockstar games last a lot longer than all of the other developers, and Seto would definitely attest to that.
I would very much attest to that. Yes.
That's crazy. Because here's the thing with me, right? Is that I get bored of games very quickly. Like there are a few games that I will stick with for 1,000 hours. So I'm picking Capcom here because like here's the thing: is like Resident Evil storytelling wise as good as Last of Us? No. Is Monster Hunter's looter kind of loop, live service loop as good as Destiny? No. Is Devil May Cry as fun to play as like The Witcher? Well, actually, is more fun to play. More fun than like Uncharted. Like, no. Am I really that big of a fighting fan for Street Fighter? No. But the fact that I'm like Capcom releases like 2 games a year means that I've got the variety, baby. Like I'm just sitting in a bunch of like really great video games constantly that keep my attention. And you know what? Maybe I do become a fighting game fan. Maybe I really enjoy Street Fighter at that point. And I go pro, you know? And then I become a really big fan of Chun-Li, and the rest is history at that point. Like I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone, you know? Like
you watch that animated video that we saw that one time of
Street Fighter 2, the movie. Yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. That's
yeah.
on loop. That's
Oh shit, I forgot about
yeah.
that.
I mean, yeah, you can't even watch that video anymore. Like that's it's gone. You pick Rockstar, you don't get that anymore. You get that weird like Red Dead Redemption sex scene. Remember that one? That was very odd.
What?
Yeah, when you start in Mexico, there's like this weird, like completely out of touch sex scene that's completely just like 2010,
Oh, there
basically.
is. Yeah, no,
It's
no, no,
very
no.
strange. It's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
strange.
yeah.
But yeah, I think here's a it's I'm gonna miss Last of Us. I'm gonna miss Red Dead and GTA. I'm gonna miss Cyberpunk 2077, but I just like the variety. Just
Mm.
I want to get a little bit of a taste of everything. So I think
But-
Capcom has that.
But I'm getting remote code execution on my computer.
Yeah, see,
so-
I mean, yeah, so, yeah, when this GTA Online thing happens, you've just got to. I mean,
Yo,
I guess
malware.
mod at that point, you just get malware. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But like of those, like Resident Evil, like as I said last time when I talked about Resident Evil 4, like I just like stumbled into being a really big Resident Evil fan. So like I'm kind of okay with playing all those games, and like
Mhm.
the replayability of them is really great as well. So even if I wasn't like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna try Devil May Cry and Street Fighter, like I've still got a backlog of Resident Evil games. I can go back to the Wii U and play Monster Hunter Tri, if I really wanted to, that game. Yeah, I don't
The
know.
Wii U.
That-
He is actually considering the Wii U game.
that was the hardest one. Capcom and Rockstar were the two ones that I was thinking about the most. Like that, like Capcom, because I love Resident Evil games, and I think that like it was definitely the hardest pick, but I think I would get more time out of Rockstar than I would Capcom. Like I think that the mindset that you're going is like you have the.
I think I've just got
attention
TikTok
of,
brain.
yeah,
I
I
think
was
that's
gonna say
the
you have the
issue. Like
attention
I'm
of a
literally just,
13-year-old.
I just like I can't. Well, the thing with GTA Online and Red Dead Online, I just fucking despise them. Like I just despise how they work now. Like the more I've like sat away from those systems, I'm like, that shit fucking sucks. Like they suck, man. They
Oh yeah,
it
straight
just
up
blows.
blows.
Like
Yeah, dude.
like
Dude,
the
I
only thing
definitely hate
Rockstar
it.
makes that's decent is their single player games. And once I'm done with those, like I don't really like I you guys are probably different, but I don't find myself like once I finish a Rockstar campaign story mode, I don't usually like continue to walk around and do other stuff. Like I just
Mm.
kind of like it's like for me, it's like a single player like a Star Wars Jedi or like a Last of Us. When I finish the story, I'm like, okay, I'm done, and then I move on.
Mhm.
Like I don't linger in open world games a lot of the time. Sometimes I do when if I want 100% it, but Red Dead and GTA 100% are not fun. They're
Mm.
like you got to
I don't think I ever have stuck around an open world game, but I just make sure to like do more before I finish the story.
Sure,
Because yeah,
that's
I
fair.
pretty much quit the second I finish the story. It's over for me after that.
There's only very few examples where I do stick around, and like the most recent one was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's the one where I was like, I went
Yeah, I
through
think
and
actually
did
I might have done the same. Yeah.
literally everything I could in Spider-Man, 100% of the
Mhm.
map, did all the crimes, got the platinum. Like same with Miles Morales, like because that game is so fun that it's just like even if I'm not getting any story beats, it's still just a fun experience. And I don't necessarily think the gameplay in Red Dead and GTA are as fun to play as they are to experience like the story. So that's my thoughts. That's my take, I'd say. But I'm happy to move on if you guys are. So we're
Yeah.
we're Rockstar, Capcom.
Mhm.
So sorry, CD Projekt Red and Naughty Dog.
Yeah, you guys suck.
You should.
I suck.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
should. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? So obviously we're going to talk a lot about Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yes.
But I didn't necessarily want all of the conversation to revolve around the performance. So I've sort of taken the performance conversation out of what we've been playing and just stuck it into Hox Fix.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to read their statement on the awful PC performance because of how bullshit it is. Like,
Yeah.
have you seen this statement?
Yes.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it's really bad.
So I'm going to read the whole. It's not long. It's only a couple paragraphs, but I was like stunned because it's just so incorrect.
Mhm.
So here's what they said. This is on April 29th. It was a day after release. This was what they tweeted about the performance on PC in Jedi Survivor. So they said, we're aware that Star Wars Jedi Survivor isn't performing to our standards for a percentage of our PC players, in particular those with high-end machines or certain specific configurations. For example, players using cutting-edge multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 are encountering problems on Windows 10, or high-end GPUs coupled with lower performing CPUs also saw unexpected frame loss. Rest assured, we are working to address these cases quickly. While there is no single comprehensive solution to PC performance, the team has been working on fixes we believe will improve across a spectrum of configurations. We are committed to fixing these issues as soon as possible, but each patch requires significant testing to ensure we don't introduce new problems. Thanks for understanding and apologies to any of our players experiencing these issues. We will continue to monitor performance across all platforms and share update timing as soon as it is available. The Star Wars Jedi team. What the fuck are they talking about with
Yeah,
this
that's
like this multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11? We're encountering problems on Windows 10. That's not how
That's
that
not right.
works. That's
Nope.
Bro,
not
processors aren't designed for Windows 11. That's
No.
just like some absolute horse
Yeah.
shittery.
high-end GPUs coupled with lower performing CPUs. Well, I can tell you, as someone who's using the highest end GPU with the highest end Intel CPU, I was
That's not
still
the issue.
encountering issues. So
Yeah.
like I'm not sure what they're trying to get at here. Like my GPU was a lot of the time was running like 50 to 70% load for most of the time. Like the
Mhm.
CPU was getting hammered
I
and
think the CPU argument they're making, right, is because Windows 11 is a lot better with handling multi-threading. I
Sure.
think that's what they're getting at, is that newer CPUs, like they're just adding more threads, not because of Windows 11, but just because that's how, that's how, like, what's the law called? Moore's law or something like that?
yeah.
You just keep adding threads and speed until we can't do it anymore. But they have added so many threads that the per core per thread performance is quite low
Mhm.
now, and games that don't take advantage of that really suffer. And this is one of those games that doesn't take advantage of it very
It's
well.
like it's powering the heat onto like one or two cores.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 threads, which is 2
Yeah.
cores.
Yeah.
I mean, most high-end CPUs, and it's just it's not doing
Yeah,
very
looking
well.
at like the MSI Afterburner, like the what do they call the like a lot of channels use it for their benchmarking, that tool. And you would see like there would be like I can't remember how many cores are in a i9 13900K. It's like what 16
Yeah,
cores?
16 or 18 threads, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so
Yeah.
half of it was like at 0%. Half of the cores are at 0%, the other half were
Yeah.
getting hammered. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, you're using half of the CPU's intended, you know, and this happens a lot. Like I feel like a lot of games do not
It's tricky.
utilize
Multi-threading is very difficult in
Yes.
programming. But and I don't expect developers to ever get it perfect. They never will. But like this is pretty atrocious.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't believe like through my entire playthrough, my GPU was not like I think I got to 99% GPU usage a couple of times through the whole playthrough. Even when I was on like I mean, particularly the second planet Kobo, that is like if you go into the main town there, it is like you're dropping to 45 FPS,
And it's
stuttering.
stuttering. Yeah.
Oh my god! And it's not even I think the frame drops like aren't fine, but like I can handle it. It's just the stuttering, man. It was like
Yeah, it's the stuttering.
constantly like the 1% low, the 99% low. What not 1% lows were awful. Like I was like, it was like the 99% FPS was at like 15 FPS sometimes. Like
Yeah.
just terrible performance, and honestly, like just kind of not uh like not satisfactory at all. Like they shouldn't have released it in that state at all.
I don't think I've ever gone more than a couple of minutes thinking that the game felt smooth. Like there may be like a minute or two at a time where I'm like, oh, this is running pretty well, and then it'll just like judder for like a whole 20 seconds. And yeah, I've never felt like the game was running smoothly ever.
How did it feel in like because I know obviously like the big open map kind of areas performance is really bad. It was bad for me, but I think it's bad for everyone. How was it
Yeah.
in like some of like the offshoot kind of areas? Like some of like the I don't know, like there's like little puzzle rooms and stuff that happen. Like I feel like performance for me at least in those was great, and that's what
Yeah.
made the bad performance especially bad because like
Yeah.
I because I would go from like 120 FPS to like 40, and I'm like this. It's just such a massive divide that it just feels bad. Like if it
Yeah.
was more consistent, I think it would have been a little better. But it still should run flawlessly on literally the best configuration you can have at the
You would
moment.
think.
Yeah, like it's just
Like, what are
not.
they testing it on?
I don't know. I don't
Same
think
shit as you.
and honestly, it actually runs better on AMD CPUs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if AMD CPUs handle, uh, yeah, whatever this game is doing better. It must because the performance was just better across the board when you were pairing a 4090 with What's the top AMD CPU? I always forget their naming conventions.
7800X or
Yeah.
7950 or something like that. I don't know,
Yeah, like it was a 7800X 3D, I think, was
Oh, yeah,
handling like the 3D cache was handling whatever Jedi Survivor was doing much better than what Intel
which is
could do.
funny
Yeah.
because the 7800X 3D actually underperforms compared to the normal 7800X in most games.
Really? So
yeah.
I guess like Jedi Survivor just really utilizes that 3D cache,
Yeah,
the V
or
cache.
whatever it needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was such a bummer because like this game should have been like a massive slam dunk, and it
Oh, yeah.
is like a half slam dunk, but this. I mean, this whole performance issue has taken up the entire like the whole conversation. Basically, it's always just like not performing on PS5. It
It's
runs
good,
at like
but
exactly. There's always the but. Like I was saying to Ben before, like Digital Foundry did their analysis of performance mode, and the game runs at a max of like 972p at performance on PS5
bro.
and down to like 864p, and it's just using
Whoa.
FSR2 to upscale it to 1440p.
Oh, damn.
So like you look at how the game looks on console at performance mode, and it is blurry. Like because
Yeah.
FSR2 is just kind of a dog shit upscaler. Like it's just not great. And the fact that no DLSS, no DLSS2, no DLSS3, like no XeSS for for Intel GPUs, like what? Why? Like it's so easy to integrate those upscaling technologies into your games now. Like Nvidia and Intel make it so simple.
Yeah, they want to make it as easy as possible.
And it's just like you don't even choose FSR 2.1 or 2.2. Like there's better versions of FSR that are out of 2 out. It's just the standard FSR 2 that looks, you get that like the weird like edge thing on
It's
around
bad.
character models.
It's
really
bad.
Yeah,
Compared to DLSS, it's terrible.
totally.
Like real bad.
Yeah, it's just it's super disappointing, honestly.
And I forgot what I was going to say now. I was about to come up with the best things you ever heard.
I was gonna
Don't
say
worry.
this happened for every every big PC release this year. There's been some issue that's just like, what the fuck is going on? What do they do? What?
I don't know, man.
What every
This is a
single like
shit year.
it hasn't been a
It's been a
single
bad year.
it hasn't been a single AAA PC game that's released without any issues.
Yeah.
Like I think the the best one was fucking Dead Island 2. What? How? Like how are they producing a really well optimized fluid experience? And then like you look at like Dead Space Remake has the traversal stutter. Hogwarts Legacy has the CPU bottleneck in towns, and that was actually decently okay only because of DLSS 3. Like without DLSS 3, that game would have run like shit on my GPU and CPU combination. Wild Hearts was just a complete fucking mess. Redfall just came out, has the Unreal Engine for traversal stutter plus CPU bottleneck. Like it is, and that game looks like a fucking polished turd, man. Like it looks bad and it still runs like shit. Like it's so annoying. And like here's the thing. I know games industry, and give me the one. Games industry, I know you like to play practical jokes.
Sorry.
Thank you,
I
thank
didn't
you,
know what
thank
you
you,
meant.
thank you,
Now I
thank you, thank you.
understand.
Sorry,
I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, give me the one.
yeah, okay. Games industry, I know you like to play little jokes, and I know that I just happened to buy a really expensive PC, and now every single PC release after me buying this fucking PC has been shit. I know you, but can we just get a good PC port, please? That's not Dead Island 2. Like like a really good video game plus a good PC port. That's all I gotta say. Like it's just, it sucks. You can go back to the 3 now. Like
No, we're gonna keep it on you.
I just don't understand, man. It's just awful.
It's dog shit.
Only
This year being a PC player is crap. Because like we've got like I just calculated the price of my PC brand new for my contents insurance. It's $5,000. Like,
yeah,
you should be able to play games. It fucking can't this year.
No. It's insane. It's crazy. And like, and I'm not sure if this is a matter of like, it's easier to develop for a console because they have the unified memory or they've got the unified APU. So in terms of streaming those high quality assets, it's probably easier for a console to do that than it is for a PC because there's not as much like actual physical distance to transfer all that. I don't know. I have no idea. But like,
and it's more like not hard coded,
No.
but when you've only got like limited things to develop on, it's like, well, I mean, gonna take some shortcuts here and there if we don't need we don't need to develop for other consoles or other like hardware.
Yeah. And
They've only got 3 things to develop for these days.
And here's the thing, like I know developing anything, a game in particular, it's very difficult, especially for PC because you have all these different configurations. But that being said, at the very least, the game should run really fucking well on the actual top of the line system. And it should run
Yeah.
well on a 3080 Ti or a 3090. These are expensive components. Like you shouldn't be getting worse performance in these kind of PCs versus on a console. And I know there's even setbacks on console, like frame, in terms of it's locked at 60 a lot of the time. Sometimes it's locked at 30. Sometimes it's not running at like full resolution. It's like upscaled but yeah, it's just very disappointing. And like I fully expect that. What's the next PC game coming out soon? Well, you know what? The next one is Diablo 4. That'll run fantastically.
That already runs well.
That's-
We already know
that'll
that.
be
we already know it runs well.
That runs too well, man. That's like that has no right running that well. How well it does.
Did you see the recommended specs that came out for Diablo 4?
No.
It's
Is
like
it pretty low?
Diablo 4's minimum specs were my first PC. Or my
What?
second PC.
Whoa,
That's
really?
crazy.
It's like a 4790K is the CPU.
Jesus
Whoa.
Christ.
And like I believe it's a 1060 for the
What's
low.
the recommended? What's the recommended?
I'll look real quick. It
Like,
is.
that's like
that's
a 1060 and a
crazy.
47.
No, so actually,
something.
I'm wrong. It literally was my first CPU, and it's not even. It's an i5 2500K
2600K. Yeah, 2500. Yeah.
Jesus
with a
Christ.
680,
Whoa.
660. Sorry. So it's actually literally. This is
660.
nearly my first PC.
Worse
that's-
than your first PC.
Yeah, worse. And this is to run it at 1080p 30.
Wow.
Whoa.
That's
So-
crazy.
And
That's
it's like
actually insane.
1080p still. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of
1080p
30,
native.
1080p.
So it does say 720p render resolution. So
okay.
okay, so it's
1080,
720p
70%,
30 low
75%.
graphics.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, they're
But
assuming
still-
you. And then recommended for medium is a i5 4670K
Still
with a
low.
970.
Still
A
low.
970. Like we had those.
That's
Yeah.
still low.
That's insane. You could build a PC to play Diablo for like $500
Yeah.
secondhand parts easily. Way less than that even probably. Like that's insane.
And to run ultra 4K max settings 60 FPS is an i7 8700K and a 3080.
And even that's like
still
yeah.
like that is
I mean,
still,
8700K that's 5 generations old now.
Mm-hmm.
So
What was that for?
that was for 4K resolution, ultra graphic
yeah.
settings, 60 FPS.
So
shit.
yeah,
That's like
that's good.
So yeah, if you're running 1440p, you'll be able to get 120 FPS plus. It doesn't always scale that way, but I feel like a lot of the time, if it's running a 4K, you can probably get close to double performance if you're running 1440p. Sometimes
Yeah.
some games don't scale that way, but yeah.
Dude, that's
So
crazy.
hey, at least we'll get at least one good PC release this year.
And we've
Or-
already played it.
and we've already played it, and we've
Yeah,
found
we know
out
it
how
runs well.
insanely well optimized it is, and how good it looks, even for how
Mhm.
it's crazy. So there is that. There is the bright spot coming up soon, but I still when I saw this statement where they're like mentioning like that having Windows 11 or like having multi-threaded chipsets on Windows 10 should just tank performance this way. It's like that's not.
Like,
Well, how that
bro,
works.
It's like they're not
Even
even
they know
they're not
they're
even
bullshitting.
owning up to the performance issues. They're literally blaming people's configurations.
Mhm.
It's like that's,
blaming Microsoft.
yeah, exactly. It's like come on, like this. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to get that whole out of the way because I feel like a lot of what I would have said about Jedi Survivor would have been complaining about performance, and now
we can talk about the video.
we can talk
game.
about the actual video game itself and how. I mean, who wants to go first? Like, do you want to
You go for it.
Oh, okay, I'll go first.
I'm sitting back on this, boys. It's all you.
Yes, you haven't played it. then.
I'm sitting back on
So
this.
basically, I fucking adore this game. Like, taking aside all the performance issues, I think this is such a step up from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in like literally every way. I even from like the first mission. So I'll say for spoilers, we're not spoiling anything. No,
Safe
may-
spoilers. We're not spoiling anything.
Yeah, well, in terms of
Yeah.
spoilers, we're not going to
Yeah, yeah.
spoil
But if you want the game to be completely fresh, just stop watching.
Yes, that's fair. Yeah, we may
Yeah.
mention like I think maybe stances because there's some new stances in the game.
Yes,
Have you
yeah.
you've unlocked all the stances, right? There's 5. Have you
Oh
unlocked?
yeah,
all-
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Where easily, yeah.
and you've probably seen every location. We probably won't mention locate. Maybe if it comes up, we may mention locations. But even from like
Try
the
not to, 'cause they're cool,
yeah,
and that they're tied to the story as well.
that's
One
true.
of them at least,
Oh, God.
heavily.
Even just like the first mission, and you're just like, I mean, we can spoil the first mission. The first mission is you're essentially Cal is captured on Coruscant, heading to the senator that you saw in like the teaser trailer. And like just the way it's framed and how it looks, and like Cal's hair moving in the wind. It's like this is like this
Hair
is
physics is surprisingly good. It shocks me every time I see it. Actually,
it's like even just like all the cinematics are on the same level to me as Sony's first party games, like God of War,
Yeah.
Last of Us, Spider-Man. Like it is top. It's the closest a third party developer has gotten to the quality of a Sony first party game in terms of like production value, like easily. It's like absurdly good, and also like just such a step up from the first game. Like I was expecting Fallen Order, but with new locations, new story, and they've just kind of gone all out.
oh yeah, massively.
Like fucking Respawn, man. Like I'm just so surprised. And I shouldn't be surprised because I love Fallen Order, but like playing it again, I was like, oh, like there's some things here. Like there's still some bugs, and like it's the story. The story's really strong, but I think the way they tell it is a little bit disjointed. But then
Mm.
the story in Survivor is like, I'm in from the first moment. Like the first frame of the game, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great.
I thought it was fantastic, and then maybe after the 15-hour point, I thought it was like it's contending with like this. If the game didn't run like trash, it would be like game of the year contender for sure, and it probably still will be. To be honest,
I cannot like because I would say like for the first half of the game I was like, oh, this is like really strong, but I'm waiting for like the moment because everyone was like, when the reviews came out, people were like, oh dude, there were like 3 top 10 Star Wars moments in this game, and I was like, well, I've already seen one, but I'm like, I'm waiting for like what could they possibly do? And then you see like
keeps going, man.
just when you're reuniting with some of the characters, and like you're getting these story moments, and then you're getting like there's this
Oh,
moment
yeah,
in the game
reuniting.
where it's like what's up?
Reuniting.
Yes, reuniting. Dude, oh my god, I love this group of characters so much. Like I just felt like when I'm playing the game, I felt like I was reuniting with like a group of friends again. Like because for reference, Cal is split up from the team when the game starts. Won't spoil why that is, but and so a lot of I'd say the first half of the game is like bringing the gang back together. And just like I don't know, man. I'm speechless. I'm still speechless about this game. Like it's very difficult to not just like say like blah blah blah. This is fucking awesome. This is insane. This is crazy because like
Give it like a month.
I really want to do like Ben.
A
Whenever
revisited with
you,
spoilers.
I really want to do like a spoiler cast at some point and just like
Yeah.
say everything because it
I'll
is
probably finish it this afternoon. I'm pretty sure I'm very close.
yeah, it is a fantastic video game that I cannot wait in like 6 months' time when the performance is a lot better. I will say, like, I did just before the podcast try because there's been a couple patches since I last played it, and I was like, I wonder how this is running now. It's still not.
Still the same.
It's just the starter. Like at this point, it's the frame rate's pretty fine. Not as good as I'd want it to be, obviously, and I would really love DLSS, but it's just the stutter, especially on Kobo. Which
Yeah.
I just got to say, in terms of like how this, so I'd say there's 2 big areas in the game, which are very like basically open world areas, like massive, huge areas with tons of stuff to do. Which is this is one of them you're looking at now, which is Kobo. And it's one of the worst performing parts, but I'll get away from the performance. It's so difficult to be like, this is fantastic, but like all the time.
But yeah.
But the way they've designed these spaces to like for the traversal and for you'll get these different abilities that will allow you to get it's basically what Fallen Order did, but like turned up to 11, where once you get everything kind of unlocked and you're just traversing these areas, it's like it's like you're seeing them from a whole new lens, and it's the Metroid thing where like you'll get an ability and you'll be like, oh, like I remember there was this door or there was this area where I couldn't get to, and I wonder if I can get there now. And you go back there and you do it, and then you find this like you'll find like a cool boss fight, or you'll find like something that can help your, to increase your force powers or a skill point or something interesting. And there's always something interesting to find. And that's not even getting to like the cosmetics, which is a huge thing that they've improved on from Fallen Order, where, in Fallen Order they had like you can get like a pink poncho, or you can get like just a bunch of
pretty
ponchos.
lame.
Really, it was a lot of ponchos. Like
A
you could
lot
just
of
get a bunch of different
ponchos.
ponchos.
Yeah.
In this game, it's like you get new hair,
Full customization.
full
Yeah.
customization, new hairstyles, new decals, new BD1 parts, new clothing, new
Colors of all of that.
new colors for every single
Yeah.
component. You can fully trick out BD1 to be your BD1, to be your cowl, to be your lightsaber, to be your blaster. Like everything is just fully customizable, and Nathan's cowl will probably look different to my cowl, who will look different from Ben, your cowl, when you eventually play the game. And then that even extends to the gameplay where like there's, in the first game you had single lightsaber and then you had dual bladed. Now in Jedi Survivor you have an extra 3 stances, one of them being what you're seeing now, dual lightsabers, which was a move you could do in Fallen Order, but you didn't have the full on, like you couldn't just detach them for the
Yeah.
whole amount of time.
Yeah, you couldn't
Um,
fight with it. It was like a move.
It was like a
wasn't it?
special
With the
move where
single
you
light-
like, you
with the
take
dual
apart it and then
lightsaber.
do your
Yeah,
massive attack.
yeah.
Now you have the dual blade lightsabers as a full stance you can use, and there's 2 others which I think I'm kind of okay with talking about because it's in the trailers, like those
Yeah,
2
yeah, they are.
stances.
Yeah.
So you have sort of like a move where Cal uses a single bladed lightsaber like a rapier, but he also has a blaster, which I don't know about you, Nathan, but I found myself using that a lot. I
actually never
really,
used that.
yeah, no, I loved it. I was a huge fan of like that fighting style. And then
Mm.
especially for some of the bosses, like wanting to keep my distance and just being like, just fucking. And then I got there's perks as well. Like you can get these perks that add to your abilities. There's so much. It's like, I'm just like, oh, there's this and this and this. So I had a perk that increased my blaster damage. So like some of the later bosses that I was actually struggling with, I don't know how did you feel about the bosses later on? Because I know early on I was like, these are kind of easy, but
Yeah, they definitely get harder.
they definitely got harder.
There was one that I had to try maybe 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
times, and one that I actually turned the difficulty down for.
Right.
But that was mostly just because it was a really epic moment in the story, and I wanted to just keep going. I
dude,
was like, "Fucking, I just want to go."
You know what's crazy is I don't even know what boss fight you're talking about, because I was like, my first thought was like, oh, I know what boss fight that is, but then I was like, no, but what about this boss fight and this boss?
Yeah.
Like
Could
there
be
is
so many.
the last third of this game is fucking, and maybe not even third, the last like half basically
Yeah.
is nuts. It's like it's like I don't know how they make the sequel to this game better, because I feel like they've just like, it reminds me of God of War Ragnarok, Ben, where it's like Santa Monica went all out, like Respawn has gone all out, where I'm like, I don't know where you go from here, and I cannot.
Oh, like it's kind of the peak at this point. Like it's kind of like, yeah.
Right, but the thing is, like, I know they're gonna best it. Like, I have like, my full faith that this trilogy of Star Wars games, by the end of this, if whatever Star Wars Jedi subtitle, the next game, is on the same level of Survivor, dude, this might be the second best Star Wars trilogy behind the original trilogy in terms of like, it just, I'm telling you, like, this story is fucking brilliant. Like the places Cal goes and his like journey, but not even just his journey, but the journey of all his crewmates and new characters and the locations and how this feeds into different eras of Star Wars. It's like, fuck, dude. Like you can tell that LucasArts was like, after the Fallen Order, they were like, we're going to give you a little more leeway on what you can do, and kind of giving us our first visual of an era of Star Wars that we haven't seen before. Like, I'm trying not to spoil stuff. Like, it's so difficult because there's like, within the first 30 minutes, there's stuff that they did not reveal in trailers, like new stuff and new people and new locations. And yeah, I don't know. Nathan, you got to talk about what your experience.
I during playing, I made sure to make notes of stuff that wasn't spoilery, just like actual elements of the gameplay that rather than the story that I enjoyed compared to the last one. Obviously we already talked about customization. It's lit. It's legit amazing. It's like think about it. Think about as open a customization as you can get for this game, and that's basically what it is. Like aside from literally choosing your own color on a color palette, that's basically it's like pretty much as good as it gets.
It works similarly to shaders in Destiny, Ben, where you
Yeah.
get like
wow,
a
okay.
subset of colors, but it's even more customizable than that, where
Shit.
you get like like you get a sort of a collection of colors, and then you choose one of those colors, and then you can also
And
choose
textures too.
and textures,
Yeah.
and then you can
Shit.
choose like the degradation of that
Mm.
specific component.
So it really goes in depth on how far you could actually go down
Dude,
this
so
list.
I didn't
Okay,
even
yeah.
mention the fifth stance is like a like
Oh yeah.
dude, Kylo Ren's like
I love that, man.
crossblade
Mhm.
lightsaber, but instead of it
Really
just being
big.
like it's like a heavy, like you're using like a heavy sword. So the
Mhm.
swings he's doing are like full on like meaty.
Really long, heavy hitting. Yeah.
I will say
I use that and the jewel.
right, dude.
Those are my
The dual
two.
lightsaber was my. So
Yeah.
for me, it was the blaster with the sword, with the one single lightsaber, and the dual. The
Yeah.
thing with the crossblade is I liked it, but I think it was too slow for some of the combat encounters. Some of the enemies.
I just use it in boss fights.
Yeah, that's a good
And then I
call.
use it, and I use the jewel for everything else pretty much.
So you can have multiple stances on at once?
You have two stances, yeah.
Two
So
stances
out of
you
the
have.
five, you choose. So you choose your stances in like the bonfire style meditation points. Yeah,
And you can have multiple at once. And what, you can just trade it between them?
yeah. It's on the D-pad. So left
Ah,
for the
sick, okay.
yeah. So
And if
left
you
and
feel
right.
like you've stuffed up, like say you skill into one, and then like halfway through the game you unlock another one, you can just reset your skill points and rebuild
Oh, that's
into it.
really nice. That's
Yeah, it's
really
awesome.
nice. Okay,
I
yeah.
actually didn't find
I did
myself.
it once
Yeah, I didn't reset any, but I
because
may end
I
up
used
doing
the
that
long
for
sword.
right. Yeah. Oh yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
yeah, and which you unlock really late. So I wanted to respec, but yeah, I really like that longsword. I just think it's like it's such a weird feeling for Star Wars to have just like such a heavy hitting weapon
Yeah.
that feels like meaty.
And it honestly doesn't
Anyway.
make any sense, but I still love it. Like
Yeah,
it's
no, it
still
doesn't at all.
it's
Yeah.
such a video game thing, but
It's
I'm like, fuck
weightless.
yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
still an awesome like addition. And what I was gonna say is you can even change. I didn't even realize this. I saw this on Twitter. You can change the angle of the crossblade.
What?
I didn't know you could do it's an option below. You can literally change the like if you want to be straight along or like like you can change all of that.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't see that as an
okay.
option. So it goes deeper than even we saw when we were playing.
Jesus Christ. I'll have to have a look at that.
It is nuts. Yeah, I'm definitely when I play it again, I'm gonna have to take a look at that
Yeah.
because yeah, you can full on change like the angling. Yeah, incredible.
Another plus, fighting with other characters by your side. That is lit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
That's
in the
awesome.
trailers, I was thinking it might be like a companion system, and it's not. It's more like you have story moments where you're with someone and they're helping you.
Yeah.
Still awesome. Still loved
It's
it.
amazing.
And you have the synchronized takedowns as
Oh,
well.
they're
Oh, that's
so
sick.
cool.
That's
So
really
sick. It
cool. Okay.
reminded me of I think it
And
was
they don't feel crap or unnatural.
No.
Like they just happen.
it did feel kind of bad when they started sometimes, but that's the
Well.
first yeah. But yeah, it reminded me of Arkham City when you would play against like if you were Batman playing when Robin was next to you, you do like the synchronized takedowns. It reminded me of that, which was really cool. What else you got?
The shortcuts and fast traveling. There's so many shortcuts. I feel like every 5 seconds I'm unlocking a shortcut. It's
Yes,
fantastic.
it was great.
And fast traveling, obviously, because the maps are so big, I feel like you pretty much need it in like 2 or 3 moments. And yeah, they definitely took that down as a note from the last game because I feel like I spent so much time just traveling between 2 places in the last game.
Fast traveling felt
Kinda
really
crap.
good. And even like when you do a massive like platforming section and you unlock a fast travel, it's like unlock a shortcut. It's like, oh, thank
Yeah.
God. Like,
Yeah, I was like, oh.
and also
yeah,
like
wait, like you do something for like 10 minutes and then you unlock a shortcut and you're like, oh, there's the ship. Cool.
yeah, exactly. It was like
Yeah.
it's like the From Software Dark Souls thing where it's like, I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And even like on Kobo, I was like, oh, surely I've reached the end of like what this planet has to offer. And then you like
It's so big.
travel like to the highest peaks, the lowest,
Yeah.
like you are going all over this place where it feels like a proper planet, proper
I
area.
looked at
Like,
my percentage completion of Kobo halfway through the game and I was like, that's low.
yeah, I had the same thing where I was like, I feel like I've seen a lot of this place. It was like 15%. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, because I was fully expecting it to be like how it is in Fallen Order, where after you've done like a story mission there, you've done like 60 to 70%. But I'd done like the introduction to this planet and I was at 15%. I was like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
what? Like, and then obviously you kind of go back to these areas, and there is a lot of revisiting of areas, but it's not in the same way of like, oh, you're just
Different.
retreading your steps.
Yeah.
It's like you go back to a planet and you're seeing like a completely different area of this place that looks so different. Like Kobo has like 6 to 7 different distinct areas that all look
Like
different from each
biomes,
other.
basically.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me of like a little bit like Elden Ring, where you'll go like you're on the same kind of map, but it's vastly different from where
Yeah.
like all the different areas. But with the same kind of like, it's not like you're not going from like desert to snow. It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's sort of the same, but like the
They're
visuals
different.
are different.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, every time you go to a new planet, I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude. And also like, I feel like halfway through the game, I'd visited like maybe 4 planets. And then the second half, it's like, okay, now we're going here, now we're going here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, how many places are there? Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
when I was halfway through, I was like, oh, this is like a smaller amount than Fallen Order. And then they're like, oh no, don't worry,
Boom,
we're
boom.
taking you some places. Go here,
Yeah.
check this fucking cool place out. These new areas, like, I love that they don't. There is obviously places that you will recognize from Star Wars media, but a lot of the places you go are totally new for this series,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love visiting new places, new parts of the galaxy, and um, I'm sure some of these places will show up in like Star Wars TV shows and movies at some point, because they're like so like Kobo is is like a place
Yeah.
that
Kobo's cool.
I could see some like a animated TV show going there at some point, like in
I
like
could see it coming up in like a Mandalorian episode
totally.
with the pub, whatever it's called, the tavern.
And I love like I don't want to. Do you think we can spoil the desert planet?
No.
Okay. Okay.
It's too important.
The desert planet's so dope. When I would
Yeah.
go in there, I was like, "Fuck yes, dude!" And
Yeah.
it is. They nail it. They nail
Yeah.
how it looks. It's like this is how it fucking looks in Star Wars media. Like I don't want to.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna say what planet it is, but it's like It's like I honestly think they got like the assets that they used in the media and just put it straight into UE. Like
Pretty much. Yeah.
it's like exact.
I think I have a guess of what planet you're talking about.
No,
but
don't guess.
I'm not
guess.
going to, but I
You
think I
don't- you don't
have a
wanna.
guess. I think I have a guess.
Yeah, you should probably know, but maybe not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so
Anyway.
yeah, like because the thing is, like, it's in the trailers and it doesn't look like the planet
Yeah.
you would expect it to be.
Mhm.
That section on that planet, Nathan, though, with Merrin, with
Yeah.
like, oh my, that was like what I was talking about. It's like this is better than Uncharted. Like this is
Yeah.
an Uncharted ass section of a game. That's better. It's better than. I honestly think it's the best Uncharted like sequence I've ever experienced in a game, because
It was dope.
it's cinematics, it's story, it's gameplay, all mixed into one in this perfect, like, beautiful sequence.
Seamless. Yeah. The maps in the last what was the last game called? Like, I can't even
Fallen
remember
Order,
these
Fallen
days.
Order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Fallen Order, they felt like they obviously are, but they aren't. Like they felt really linear. In this game, they're obviously still linear to a sense, but they don't feel like it. Like you don't feel like you're just walking down pathways until you get to the end. Like
Totally.
it actually feels really open. Look at that dude. Look at that
That
monster.
dude.
There's even like side missions on Kobo that I haven't experienced yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's
so
like you'll
much
get
stuff
these
I haven't done.
rumors that'll be like, oh, I've heard like if you go here, there might be something of note. You know, I actually got so there's a side activity in this game. That at the end of this side activity, there's like a cool moment that I got spoiled on because I didn't even realize that could even be a thing. So I after this I'll mention what the side activity is, and you should definitely do it.
Okay.
Because
all right.
it's
cool.
It's
Yeah.
so there's even stuff like in the side content that's like cool, like payoff stuff to Star Wars. So
I'll have a look then. Yeah. 'Cause
yeah.
I haven't done anything really.
yeah, no, it's great stuff. And there's also a ton to do. Like there's
yes,
there's
heaps.
like a board game. There's like a
Yeah, dude,
holographic
I
board
spent
game.
like an hour and a half
Gwent?
doing that.
I will say it's obviously not as good as Gwent. And
it's not at
I
all.
think if I played it for too long, I'd find it quite bullshit. There is an achievement to beat all the people at the game, which I will do, but I'm gonna do it in small doses because like sometimes like so the whole way it's like a holodeck game where you choose essentially BD1 scans enemies, and once you scan that enemy, you can then use that enemy on this holo game.
Oh, it's that game. Okay.
It's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So it's similar to Kobosh. So it's what it's called in Star Wars. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's inspired by it, but it's not exactly that game. But the thing is, like, because it's just the AI enemies, like you're not controlling them, you just place them on the board and they'll do stuff.
Yep.
Sometimes they'll just like
RNG and it feels like
it's
crap.
totally RNG because sometimes they'll just walk into a grenade and blow up, and I'm like, "What? Just don't walk into
Or
that. Just walk away from
my
that."
own rocket trooper will just kill all of my units by blowing them.
Yes,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I got to look up some some
Yeah.
cheats on how to do that because I don't want to do it legitimately because I'll get to like because you do 3 rounds and if you lose the third round you got to start again.
Well, it took me an hour and a
Oh,
half to do this
God.
one.
Yeah, it's so, but it's cool that there's stuff like that, and it's like
Yeah.
I don't know how deep we want to go into side stuff, but I don't necessarily think it's that much of a spoiler. But there's
Really?
some like town upkeep stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Which is
There's lots to
like
do.
there's just tons to do in the game. Like even after you finish the 20+ hour story, there's tons to do.
My last real note is that, and continuing on from the map shit, is that it feels a lot more like a Metroid game.
Mhm.
Um, in the last game, it was kind of just like, I don't know. When you unlock a new stuff, you kind of just felt like you were only moving forward with that new stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like even 20 hours in, I'm still unlocking stuff where it's like, oh shit, I can go back to the first place that I ever went in the game
Yep.
and do this. That's exactly the feeling that I have when playing every Metroid game I've played, where it's like 10 hours in, 15 hours in, you unlock something and you're like, oh my god, I came across this so long ago. I could go
Totally.
back there and do this. Yeah, it's awesome.
There was
It's a
even
great
stuff
feeling.
like I was like almost finished with the game and I was like, oh, surely I've unlocked everything. But then I was like, oh, but what about those like I've got those crates. Like how do I unlock those
Yeah.
crates? And I'm like, and then like I'd say
Right at the
I'd
end.
say yeah, like maybe 5 hours before the ending, I unlock something that allows me to unlock those things, and I'm like, like
Yeah.
it's just there's so much to unlock, and even I will say one really fucking cool thing about this: they don't take away your abilities. You still
I
have
did
all
hear
your
that was
abilities from
missing.
Fallen Order. So
Yeah.
all of them
Keeps
to an
building on it.
extent. There are some that you lose. Some of the like I'd say some of the lightsaber moves, like I know in Fallen Order you had like that kind of I think it's all the force stuff you keep for the most part.
Mhm.
With exception to the slowdown effect, because that's the slowdown of enemies has moved to a new functionality, which I think
Yeah.
is good because it was
I
such
think it's better.
it's such a crutch in Fallen Order. When I played it
Yeah.
like earlier, like a couple weeks ago, you would just like do slow down, go behind them, whack, wail, pull back, slow. Like you could just like completely cheese
Actually
it.
have to do damage to get it now.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like it works like an ultimate.
Yeah.
And it is better because it slows down a lot of enemies, not just a single enemy. Um, but yeah, you do what you keep your double jump, which feels great. Like one of the things when I played Fallen Order and going back to having a single jump felt really bad. Like not
Yeah.
like and then they kind of extend on your abilities and your traversal and I'm really impressed because I feel like a lot of that's such a difficult challenge to give you meaningful upgrades, but also keep you as powerful as you were in Fallen Order.
That is definitely one of the things I really liked about this, because
Totally.
often what they do in, I mean, all three Metroid Prime games,
Yeah.
you'll start as powerful as you were, and then they'll just yoink everything off you, and you have to go and get it again.
Totally.
But
And
they didn't do that in this, which is awesome.
and I assume that will be the case in like Tears of the
Would
Kingdom
have
as
to be
well.
right.
Like
Yeah.
that we'll have
I thought you were gonna say that. I thought you were gonna say the third game for this.
Oh,
Like,
no,
how
that's
do
the
they go
thing is
up from here?
that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering is like, do they do it again where they're just
Yeah.
like, no, you have all your
They have to
abilities.
yoink, right?
I don't know.
But it doesn't make sense to.
But it
because
would be
just
quite kind of
physically
lame if
doesn't
they're
make
just
sense.
like, oh, you had this ability, now you have double of this ability. Like they have to like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see them. I could see them just keeping how you are, just going with their same design.
Be awesome if they
philosophy.
do, if they
So
can figure
awesome.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've said all I wanted to say. Honestly, like
I
it's
think I'm
just
done. Yeah, with it any more is just spoilers.
yeah, exactly. We're just like
Story.
this and this and
Yeah.
this. Like I cannot wait for you to see the end of this game because it is top tier Star Wars, top
Yeah.
fucking tier. Yeah. So that's Star Wars Jedi Survivor. As I
Go
said,
play it.
go play it.
It's
Okay,
Well, so
I
here's
will
the
worth
thing:
it.
is like go play it with the asterisk that the performance might not be great. I will,
If
Ben.
you
I
have a
will
console,
say,
just play it.
just play it on
If you
console.
have a PC, be prepared to be a little annoyed, but it's probably, if you have a higher end PC, it's still worth it.
Still worth it, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as I said, I will be surprised if it does not stay in my top 3 this year.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I don't think it's
It's
possible.
getting added to the top 100 list.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's yeah. And also play Fallen Order first.
Yeah,
Even if it is,
important.
a worse game, it's worth playing both. Like, don't go straight into Survivor because it's gonna feel weird, I think,
Mhm.
to an
Yeah.
extent. But yeah, that's been our episode. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. As always, tell us what developer you choose. Would you choose Rockstar, Capcom, Naughty Dog, or CD Projekt Red? Let us know. And what do you
Pick
think of
your
Armored Core
what to
6?
keep.
And if you played Star Wars Jedi Survivor, let us know how you liked it. But other than that, that's us for another week. We'll see you guys next week, just before the launch of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Mm.
Exciting. All right. See you guys next
All right.
week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.